are you?
Good, how are you? Wait a second. Sorry to make it about your like room decor, but you have the sign Sidney Brewstein's window and inside Llewyn Davis. You're like a huge Oscar Isaac fan.
I am. This was my one request when I got an office for my roommate that we hung up an Inside Llewyn Davis poster behind me. And
Like,
I got that at Broadway Flea because it was like they were selling them for like $10 and no like there were like five of them. So I was like, yeah, I'm taking one of the Sydney
oh,
Bruce
nice.
posters.
Cool.
Yeah, it's my little Oscar Isaac collection.
Heck yeah.
To start, what I really like about this movie is that it is multiple genres all kind of thrown into one, which is, we talked very briefly about Primo because we talked then, but that is such like a coming of age comedy. And now this is it's still like a coming of age story, but with horror and a detective story and the supernatural all kind of rolled into one. What for you is the most fun of getting to tackle so many genres at the same time?
Oh man. It was just fun to get like a lot to do. This was a really scrappy shoot and we shot very, very quickly. And so it was a lot of like, and now you're running down the hallway, and now like you have a vision, and like now you have to stop. Now you're in the car driving, like trying to find him, and um, it was just a lot to do. It was a lot to do. And and yeah, it was like a tall ask in terms of like how much was supposed to fit into such a small container, I guess. And so hopefully it wasn't like, reaching for all these moments and like it not being like a cohesive thing. But I don't know, you just had to sort of trust in like the director and the creative team and stuff and just plow through and like I don't know if I'm answering your question.
No, you are. But I do think like there's always something inherently funny when you stop and think about like an actor having to do those like, oh, I'm having a vision moments, just because it is like you having to be like, oh no, vision. And it is an extra layer of the playing pretend. Was there anything that you looked to with like the visions, or was it just kind of how you interpreted that character seeing those visions?
No, I mean, I don't want to speak for Claire. I don't think they had some ideas of how they were going to do the visions. I don't think they had a clear idea.
Mhm.
So every time we shot a vision, we shot it several different ways. And then ultimately in the edit, she kind of decided how she wanted it to look and went with, um, you know, and so she cut it together the way, she saw fit and put it together. But yeah, every time we shot a vision, it wasn't one thing. It was always different. But yeah, I mean it's a weird thing. I'm like staring straight down the lens. It's very like elevated, like it's yeah, it's not like, it's a weird thing, like a psychic
Yeah.
vision. Like that's not like I have no reference for that, like in like I don't so So yeah, those were weird, all kind of like quick and I don't know. We shot him all like in various ways, and then Claire kind of figured it out in post, I guess. But yeah, it was strange. I kept thinking of like that's so Raven, which I didn't want to like. That wasn't, but it's hard not to.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I instantly was just like, that's a Raven, or like I'm watching Angel right now. And so it's like every time Cordelia has a vision, I'm like, it's the same idea of like putting her head back and like, oh no, I have a vision. But it works because there are just so many elements kind of working together to make this specific story come to life. But it is also hinged on this kid and his the friendship that that he does have, even though he's like investigating the murders of people he doesn't like.
you know.
for you when you're approaching a character that is almost reluctant to kind of do what he has to do because it's like, well, none of those guys are my friends. They were mean. What is your approach from an acting standpoint of like playing that kind of character who very clearly is reluctantly helping people?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's put in a position where he's the one that like he's the one that has the information, and he's the one that like has the visions and knows. And so, um, I actually didn't really think about it all too much of like the oh, but his bullies are dying. I'm like, how big of an asshole do you have to be to go like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let them die. You know what I mean? Like regardless of who, you know. And then I'll read like comments like in the trailers like, why does he care so much? And I guess like people see it from a certain perspective of like, oh, why does he care? Yeah, let him die. But it's like, if it, I don't know, maybe it's easier to have that reaction when you're like, oh, it's a movie. But like
Mhm,
in life, like if you had information that was gonna, if you had information that you knew was going to prevent like someone's death, like a
mhm,
like a teenager's death, and you didn't do something, like. You're complicit in that murder. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not an option to not do something. Like, you're gonna let a 17-year-old die?
mhm.
Like, like everyone gets bullied. Like, you're gonna let someone die? Like, be murdered? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was like, it's not even an option to not. Like, I didn't even think of. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it is funny because I do like that you were like the people in the comments were like, you should just let them die, but it is because I think you're right. They're probably thinking, oh, it's just a movie, but your job is to ground it as
Yeah,
much as possible, especially a movie like this that does have all these supernatural things working in it. And I like that. So I'm just like, what are you just gonna let him die? You're
you
complicit.
don't you just let someone die. But also like if he would have been the kind of person that had let him die, like that's a completely different character. Like that's not Javier. Like
Yeah.
so um yeah.
Well, and with a movie like this that does, have still at its core that coming of age and coming into your own mindset, what do you hope audiences take away when they get to see Departing Seniors?
Well, first of all, I hope people get to see it. Um doesn't have a huge release, so hopefully people find it. And yeah, I hope people just have fun watching it. I hope there's a lot of elements of this movie that like if you are, I guess, a fan of the genre or whatever, like there's a lot of things that are like will satiate your sort of like appetite for these kinds of movies, but hopefully there's also a lot of new sort of elements brought in that you don't get to see in these movies. But yeah, hopefully it finds its audience and people connect to it and people feel moved by it, or I don't know, laugh or scared or like yeah,
Hopefully they finally understand why he didn't just let those kids
just
die.
let everyone die. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking with me today. It was really nice seeing you again.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Have a great one.